Let's talk about kids, shall we? Because a report from the Children's Commissioner in England has found that a quarter of kids have watched pornography before they leave primary school. Now, I'll tell you for why this is a quite serious problem, because the nature of some of this stuff that these children are viewing, not least being pornographic of its own volition, but the violence and things like that. At the start of this report, it talks about this kid had his first kiss. The girl had the first kiss at age 12 and was strangled as part of it because the boy, age 12, had seen that and thought that that's what you did. It worries me, Martin.
Yeah, 10 years ago this spring, I made a programme for Channel 4 called Porn on the Brain. You remember that time when we were working together on another broadcast?
I do, my love, yes.
We found out then precisely what's happening now, and that is it was more or less uniform for children to be exposed to this stimulus at an early age because of the onset of smartphones and the internet and the fact that you just cannot control this or stop this. And so what happened next was that David Cameron at the time started using this as a way of demonising boys as being potential sex offenders in waiting, which struck me as a really damaging and horrendous thing to say for the vast majority of young men who are amazing or just confused about what's happening, or they're growing up in a vacuum where this normalisation of more extreme things is becoming commonplace, and a few people misuse it, the vast majority don't. So we've kind of moved on nowhere in the last 10 years. I've spoken to about 35,000 British teenagers in a variety of schools across the UK, from the most elite, like Eton, to schools behind barbed wire in Woolwich on council estates and in Milton Keynes, and it's exactly the same wherever you go. When I ask the kids, put your hands up if you've seen porn, everyone's hands go up, including the teachers. I make the teachers take part.
Oh, God, how embarrassing to think your teacher... Anyway, go on, sorry.
But the genie is out of the bottle. And what we need to do is, rather than attempting to use the internet to control it, we can't. Every attempt to make age verification mandatory will fail, because children, trust me, I ask them, put your hands up, how do you get around this? Who knows how to do that? Buff.
Yeah.
Half the hands go up, and by the end of that lunchtime, everyone in the school will know how to get around it. You cannot stop it via technology. What you can do is form positive interventions where, rather than being judgmental and telling these people that they're potential monsters, you advise them on how to critically consume and ask questions. If it looks like it's painful, it probably is. And if you want to try something, ask. And by the way, if you're a parent and you feel that your son is using this stuff, say, listen, if you see anything that concerns you, ask me about it, because there's no quicker way of turning kids on than prohibition, and there's no quicker way of making them get bored by giving parental consent.
Oh, I want to wrap my son up in bubble wrap with an eye mask on and then lock him in a room forever. Emma, thoughts?
This is probably one of the few times I'm going to say this. I agree 100% with Martin Daubney.
Yay!
There we go.
You are completely right on all aspects of this.
Have this as recorded, have it as your ringtone. Go on, Emma.
It is porn as it exists at the moment, as the way that it's being commodified, and the way that it's pushed through the algorithms, pushing consumers to more and more extremes, is just so damaging, and particularly damaging to young plastic minds who are obviously, as their hormones kick in, going to be curious. We all went through it. I mean, at my age, it was, because I'm ancient, it was finding a magazine in the bushes that was your first access.
Edge porn.
Yeah, exactly. But, what we need to do, you're absolutely right, is have proper, sensible conversations with kids who we know are going to get this stuff. And there is no way of stopping that part of it, about what is and isn't a healthy sexual relationship, and you have to have those age appropriate. You can't be talking to the kids at 5, but you do need to be telling kids, very young kids, what is inappropriate and what they should be looking out for. And that's where age-appropriate sexual education is really important. We do need to let boys know that it's perfectly OK to want to go out with girls or boys.
Hey, no, it's not son of you watching, thank you very much.
But they need to be having a conversation about what you both want to be doing. And girls will be wanting to kiss boys just as much as boys want to kiss girls, but we all need to be making sure that they're being sensible and careful and safe. And it's creating that atmosphere, I think you're right, is the best and only way that we can deal with this.
Oh, gosh, it worries me so much as a mummy. All these things that cross your mind that I never would have worried about before. And by the way, you used to oversee a magazine that was basically ladies with their boobies out.
Yeah, I edited a loaded magazine for 8 years, and often during my tenureship as editor, I was accused of being a part of this problem, like a nursery slope.
I think those magazines are part of the problem.
I don't think they are, and we didn't find any evidence of that, and we did a global scour of the foremost experts on this, psychologists, addiction psychotherapists, experts. We worked with 24 young men who were having a lot of problems with the amount of porn they were using. The thing they told us was they felt overwhelmed by it, they felt addicted to it, and they were worried it would change them. But the huge majority of young men are wonderful and won't do bad things. And it's important that we remember that we don't have a nation of monsters.
Yeah, parents, please, 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 have a look at what your kids are looking at online. It will make your hair curl in some instances. It'll take you 5 minutes to go through their phones or whatever it is. And if you don't know how to do it, just find a local teenager or something. Ask him or her to show you what to look at on your phone. You've got no excuses, really, to try and keep your children safe. Some of this stuff, honestly, it just worries me. It worries me so very, very, very much. What do you make of it all? A couple of you getting in touch, saying that basically just pull the internet connection, Michelle. Yes, but it's not as simple as that, because the second they leave the door, go to their mate at the top of the street that's got a smartphone, then it's all over there. And girls, if you've got a daughter as well, please educate your daughter not to allow people to do these kind of things to you. It's not embarrassing to say no. In fact, actually, on the contrary, it's very brave to stand up against this stuff. That's what I'd say to them.